What would happen if a modern country suddenly lost electricity during a war? Not just lights going out, but communication systems failing, hospitals switching to emergency power, transportation slowing down, and millions of people cut off from real-time information. This is not a hypothetical scenario. In the ongoing tensions between Iran, Israel, and the United States in 2026, energy infrastructure and cyber systems have become central to the conflict. While there is no confirmed report of a nationwide blackout in Israel, credible developments show that both sides are increasingly focusing on electricity networks, cyber warfare, and critical infrastructure as part of their strategy. The current escalation began with a series of coordinated military and strategic actions. In late February 2026, the United States and Israel carried out strikes targeting Iranian military-related facilities and infrastructure. These operations were not limited to physical attacks. Reports indicate that cyber disruptions also played a significant role, affecting communication networks and reducing internet connectivity across parts of Iran. During this period, internet access in Iran dropped sharply, with connectivity levels falling to a very small percentage of normal usage. This demonstrated how modern conflicts are no longer limited to traditional weapons. Digital systems, communication, navigation, and connectivity are now part of the battlefield. In response, Iran issued clear warnings regarding retaliation. Iranian officials stated that if their energy infrastructure, including power plants, were targeted, they would respond by targeting similar infrastructure in Israel and potentially US-linked facilities in the region. This marked an important shift. Instead of focusing only on military bases or strategic defense locations, the conflict began to include civilian critical systems such as electricity and water infrastructure. These systems are essential for daily life, and targeting them can have widespread humanitarian and economic consequences. At the same time, missile exchanges and regional tensions have continued. There have been multiple reports of missile launches and interceptions, particularly affecting areas in and around Israel. Air defense systems have successfully intercepted many threats, but some impacts have resulted in injuries and damage. These developments highlight that while military defenses are active, the risk to civilian areas remains significant. Another important dimension of this conflict is cyber warfare. Cyber operations have reportedly been used to disrupt communication networks, interfere with GPS signals, and create confusion in both civilian and military systems. In some cases, ships in nearby waters have experienced navigation issues due to signal interference. This type of warfare is often described as hybrid warfare, combining traditional military force with digital attacks. Its goal is to weaken an opponent's ability to respond effectively by targeting both physical and informational systems. One of the most critical areas affected by rising tensions is the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is one of the most important global routes for oil transportation. A significant percentage of the world's oil supply passes through it. During the current crisis, there have been strong warnings and threats related to the control and security of this route. Any disruption in this area can have immediate global effects, including rising oil prices and supply chain instability. As a result, the situation is not only a regional concern, but also a global economic issue. For civilians, the impact of these developments is serious. In Iran, reduced internet access and economic pressure have made daily life more difficult. Access to information has been limited during periods of disruption, making it harder for people to stay informed or communicate with others. In Israel, ongoing security threats have kept populations on alert, with air defense systems and emergency responses playing a key role in daily life. The possibility of infrastructure targeting raises concerns on both sides about access to essential services such as electricity, healthcare, and water supply. Targeting power infrastructure is considered one of the most sensitive aspects of modern warfare. Unlike military equipment, which can often be replaced relatively quickly, power plants and energy grids require significant time and resources to repair. Damage to these systems can lead to long-term disruptions affecting millions of people. Electricity is essential for hospitals and emergency services, water treatment and distribution, communication systems, transportation networks. Even a temporary disruption can create widespread challenges, especially in densely populated areas. Another key concern is the pattern of escalation. The situation is developing through a cycle of actions and responses. Each side reacts to the other's moves, and over time, the intensity of these actions increases. This pattern raises the risk of a broader regional conflict. Tensions are not limited to one area. Neighboring regions, including parts of Lebanon, Iraq, and the Gulf, are also affected by the broader geopolitical situation. As more actors become involved, the complexity and risk of the conflict increase. At this stage, there is no confirmed evidence of a complete or large-scale blackout in Israel caused by Iranian strikes. However, the focus on energy infrastructure and cyber capabilities indicates that such scenarios are being considered as part of strategic planning. This reflects a broader trend in global conflicts. Modern warfare is evolving. It is no longer defined only by physical battles. Instead, it includes multiple layers: military operations, cyber attacks, economic pressure, information control. Each of these elements can influence the outcome of a conflict. The increasing importance of electricity and digital systems highlights how dependent modern societies are on infrastructure. A disruption in power supply does not only affect comfort, it affects survival. Hospitals rely on continuous electricity. Communication networks depend on stable systems. Emergency responses require coordination and information. When these systems are disrupted, even temporarily, the effects can be significant. The current situation between Iran, Israel, and the United States remains highly dynamic. Developments are happening quickly, and information is constantly evolving. Governments, analysts, and international organizations are closely monitoring the situation to assess risks and prevent further escalation. Diplomatic efforts continue alongside military preparedness as global powers seek to avoid a wider conflict. In summary, while dramatic claims about large-scale blackouts or destruction of major power plants in Israel are not confirmed, the risk surrounding energy infrastructure is real. The conflict has clearly entered a phase where cyber warfare is actively used. Critical infrastructure is being considered as a target. Regional and global impacts are increasing. This makes the situation more complex and potentially more dangerous than traditional conflicts. As the events continue to unfold, the key factors to watch include any confirmed attacks on energy infrastructure, changes in cyber activity, developments in the Strait of Hormuz, expansion of the conflict into other regions. These elements will determine how the situation evolves in the coming days and weeks. Understanding these developments is important, not just for following the news, but for recognizing how modern conflicts are changing. Because in today's world, control over electricity, communication, and information can be just as powerful as control over territory. And any disruption in these systems can have consequences far beyond the battlefield.